Hey everyone, welcome to the Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Monday, May 5th, 2025. We have a 8-game MLB slate to talk about here on today's podcast. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Sunday night. May the 4th be with you. Yeah, I mean, 8 games. Get back in the groove here. Baseball did not do a podcast on Friday, so I mean, I played MLB DFS on Friday. Just didn't do a podcast. Just got behind on some NASCAR stuff and ended up working super late on just NASCAR stuff on Friday. So, my man, like if you have kids, you get it. Like there's just you are always. I feel like you're always behind on stuff during the week. But yeah, I mean, it was just one of those. It was one of those days and like one of those weeks last week. So glad to be back today. Yeah, I mean the Cubs. They were crushing. Where they have 9 runs in 4 innings or 3 innings or something. I had a couple Cubs stacks. I had a couple really good teams on Friday, and just a little short. That's how it goes sometimes. What's up, chat? Derek, Robert, Ray, Yeezy, Chris Max says longtime listener, first time caller. What's up, Chris? Hope everyone had a great weekend. Let's just jump in and talk some baseball. This slate's interesting from first look when I was researching before the podcast. It's going to be a very interesting slate. I think we're going to see some pretty big ownership on Cole Reagans. I don't think he's priced high enough for the matchup with the White Sox. And I think that we have a lot of shaky pitchers on this slate. So I think that Reagan's going to be like your chalky SG1. And he's kind of one of the first games that we're going to talk about. So we'll talk about him when we get there. I like to give an overall like overview of what I think. And I think that Reagan's going to get a lot of ownership here. But we get started in the Bronx. San Diego at New York Yankees taking on Carlos Rodon and Nick Pivetta. 8 total in this game. Yankees a 148 favorite. So we'll start here with Nick Pivetta. He's been awesome to start the season. He comes into this game 29% K, 6% walks. He's limited power to a .081 ISO, 212 WOBA. Little concerned about his barrel rate. He is getting barreled pretty heavily. His fly ball rate is down this year. I think that's going to start to come back up a little bit. Pitching in a good ballpark at home in San Diego, but gets a ballpark downgrade here going into New York. Just been super consistent. I mean, 6 strikeouts or more in 4 straight starts. He's just pitched really well. The Yankees are a really tough matchup power-wise. This lineup is full of bats that have plenty of power upside, but they can strike out with the best of them. So while I don't necessarily love the matchup, I think Pivetta has some tournament upside today. You look at this lineup, Judge, he strikes out 22.5% of the time. Bellinger's close to 23. Dominguez is like 29. The bottom half of this lineup strikes out a lot with very little power. So I think overall in tournaments, with the way that Pivetta's been pitching, his strikeout stuff's been awesome. You target him in this spot. I will say that you could definitely take some shots on the Yankees bats, and we'll get to that in just a minute. Because Pivetta, he typically, when he struggles, he gives up home runs, and that's kind of what you're looking for with this Yankees lineup, is you're looking for the home runs. Going to the other side here, Carlos Rodon. Another pitcher that's started the season really solid. He's come out and he has a 31.5% strikeout rate. The walks are a little concerning. He's really struggled with walks to righties, but he also has a 34% strikeout rate to righties. His WOBA is way down this year. It was 327 last year. It's 250 this season. He's done a much better job generating ground balls. A lot of talk this offseason about him changing some grips on some pitches. It's worked out well for me. He has at least 7 strikeouts in 6 of his 7 starts this year. He's had some big games here recently against good offenses. So Padres, they're not a high strikeout offense by any means. They're going to put the ball in play a lot most of the time. But I still they don't have a ton of power in this lineup, especially against left-handed pitching. Machado, obviously, he has a lot of power. Tatis has a lot of power. But outside of that, Xander Bogaerts, even dating back to last year, has really struggled with left-handed pitching. So typically a game that we target a lot of offense from, San Diego and New York in Yankee Stadium. I'm looking at some pitchers in this game. I like Carlos Rodon in this matchup. Again, he's just off to a really good start. I will say that both of these pitchers have some regression coming. If you're looking at their advanced numbers, both of these pitchers have some regression coming. So that is always concerning. But it doesn't concern me enough for tournaments. Again, I think Cole Riggins is the cash play. And I don't really know where I'm at with my SP2 on if I want to pay up all the way to these guys or not. SP2 is tough for me today in like a main build. Both of these guys are up on my list for sure. The strikeout upside for both of these guys has just been great. Let's talk about bats. On the San Diego side, see, I have a little bit more interest in the Yankees because Pivetta struggles with home runs. On the Padres side, though, against left-handed pitching, Tatis, he's going to get on base a lot. And, I mean, there's always upside in getting on base. We want more than that, typically, though. Machado, always good against left-handed pitching, so don't mind Machado in this spot. Overall, though, I don't get to a lot of Padres in this spot. Just not a lot of like Padres standing out to me. Like I said, I don't mind Machado under 5K against the lefty in Yankee Stadium. Tatis is like almost the same price as Judge, and I think Judge has a much higher ceiling than Tatis on most slates. So I prefer Judge. Going to the other side here. When Pivetta struggles, I mean, his struggles is home runs. So Judge, Gresham, if he continues to hit leadoff, I like Gresham here. He's been hitting the ball really well. I think he has like 7 or 8 home runs on the season, and he's been hitting leadoff, and it's been working for them. Dominguez, he has that power speed combo that we like to look for. Bellinger's off to a really cold start this season. I think he'll eventually get it going. It was good to see him hit a home run on Sunday. Maybe the back's starting to feel a little bit better. So overall, probably more of a mini stack, just chasing some home runs here for the Yankees for me. Cincinnati at Atlanta, 8.5 total in this game. Braves a 148 favorite. We got Brady Singer going up against Smith Schroyer for Atlanta. Got hit by a line drive last time out. They did say that he's good to go, and I mean that's always good news. We don't like seeing or hearing about people get hurt. Coming from somebody that has dealt with a lot of shoulder issues in my life, I don't root for anybody to get hurt. Let's talk about Brady Singer, who has actually pitched really decently to start the season, and I will say he's had some good matchups, and some of his advanced stats definitely suggest there's some regression. He's giving up a lot of hard contact. His barrel rate's really high. His swinging strike rate is not high enough to be really backing up a 27% K rate. So there's some regression coming for Singer. Atlanta's one of those offenses that, like, I love playing against Atlanta because they're so scary, but I don't think this is the right spot for Singer. I really want to be able to attack this lineup. They do have quite a few left-handed hitters in this lineup that, like Verdugo being in the lineup, he doesn't strike out a ton. That he's been a nice little bump. When they do play like Baldwin in the lineup with Murphy or without Murphy, it's good. I assume Murphy will be in the lineup on this slate though. So, I mean, Singer's been good. It's just the fly ball issues against an offense like Atlanta could be a huge issue. He's had some really decent games, but he just struggles with home runs, and that could be a huge issue against an offense like Atlanta. So don't think I'd play a Singer on this slate. I mean, there's plenty of slates you could play him, but I'm going to pass. AJ Smith-Schroyer on the other side of this one. He's pretty cheap. Gets a matchup with Cincinnati. Was kind of cruising against the Rockies and Coors last time out, and then got hit by the line drive and left the game after like 60 pitches. So looking at it overall, he's cheap. He has some strikeout ability. He's been really good against lefties this year, and like some of his advanced stats actually suggest that like he could potentially be really good against lefties. So it's still so early to tell, but we do have a little bit of sample size to look at. So when looking at this, Reds lineup, they just got Stevenson back over the weekend. I did see that. That's up to this lineup. He's a good hitter. Even as a catcher, he's a good hitter. So that's a bump to them. Marte's been a nice jolt, like a boost of energy in this lineup. So that he's really kind of helped out. McLean, I feel like, Matt McLean's going to get it going. I think he's too good of a hitter not to get it going. So I'm on the fence. Pitching is kind of rough on this slate overall, unless like I just kind of stumble on something as I'm going through these games. So I'm on the fence here on whether or not I'm going to take some shots on Smith-Schroyer. I will say that he has some strikeout ability. There are some strikeouts in this lineup, so maybe I take a shot or two on him. And like the Reds, I feel like the Reds are one of those offenses that just like disappear a lot, right? Like they just disappear sometimes. Speaking of the Reds, let's talk about these Reds bats. I mean, Smith-Schroyer, he struggled with fly balls and line drives and hard contact to lefties and righties. So, if I'm going to play the Reds, it's probably more of a mini stack. I mentioned Marte, how good he's been. He's been awesome. He has a 340 ISO with a 430 WOBA against righties this year. De La Cruz, his upside is just massive on any given slate. I feel like Marte, even in like a non-red stack on DraftKings, is someone I'm looking at. I know he had like that stretch where he was just hitting everything, but he's still cheap enough that like when he has one of those high upside games, it's going to work out for him. I did read a report the other day that like teams are pitching him a little differently. Maybe that's why he slowed down a little bit. I will say Spencer Steer has been crushing the baseball recently, so he might be somebody you look at in tournaments. But overall, I think it'd be more of a mini stack situation for me for Cincy. There's going to be offenses on this slate that I like. They're just towards the end of the slate. Atlanta. I like the Braves. I do. One of the reasons I like the Braves, like I said when I was talking about Brady Singer, is he struggled with home runs, and that's what we want, right? Like at the end of the day. So I want to play some Brave stacks, like full stacks. The only problem that I will say with Atlanta as like a full stack on this slate is they're not necessarily cheap, and we want to pay up for pitching, but they're not like overly expensive. So I think like the stack is going to be super doable with good pitching. I haven't built any lineups yet to kind of get an idea, but I think it's possible to potentially get Atlanta with Cole Reagans on the slate. So I'll definitely be looking at that. San Francisco at Chicago, taking on the Cubs, 7.5 total in this one. Cubs, a 148 favorite. We got Landon Roop against Matthew Boyd. Oh, Matthew Boyd. I was very high on Matthew Boyd his last start. I'm sure you remember the podcast against Pittsburgh, and he got squeezed on a pitch that was a strike 3, and it cost him like an extra 17 pitches in the inning. It gave up 2 extra runs. It was brutal. I remember it. it was a strike. It was clearly a strike too. I was watching the game. It was a missed call, and it stunk because like it spiraled after that missed call, and it was like whatever. Anyway, Landon Roop here against Cubs. Like I don't typically play pitchers against the Cubs. They've just a really good offense, and this guy, from what we've seen so far this year and last year, just really struggles with lefties. He doesn't have that like out pitch against lefties. Looking at some of his advanced stats, he's able to generate ground balls, which is good. But I mean, this lineup is just too good right now for me to have any interest in him. Matthew Boyd on the other side of this game. His strikeout rate's down this year. I talked about it a lot last time out. He's had some really tough opponents to start the season. He got a matchup with Pittsburgh last time out. He had 6 Ks. He should have had 7 and 1 less walk. And anyway, the Giants are a really, really sound offense against left-handed pitching. I talk about this a lot. They have this like platoon that they can put out there with like Chapman and Flores. I didn't Fitzgerald just get put on the IL? That's a bump to Boyd a little bit. Fitzgerald's one of those righties that are really good against left-handed pitching. So anytime we get a 7.5 total in Chicago in Wrigley, typically that means that we're going to have like chilly weather with winds blowing in. Night before is showing like 8 to 12 mile-an-hour winds with like 50-degree weather. I don't mind taking some shots on Matthew Boyd in this spot. I just really don't love the mid-range pitching options today. So I'm struggling with who I like overall. But again, I see some advanced stats for him that I really like. I don't think he's pitched as bad as his numbers have suggested to start the season. He's just had some tough matchups. Even last time out against Pittsburgh, he was really pitching well. A couple bad pitches, a couple bad calls, but I like his ability overall. So I'm going to take some shots on him. Again, I did a super deep dive on him last start, and I liked a lot of what I saw. So I'll take some shots if I'm not playing him and the weather is okay here. Chapman, Flores, Mateos, like those are the guys that I typically like to play against left-handed pitching in this lineup. Again, it's a bummer that Fitzgerald's out because I do like playing him a lot against lefties. Ramos is another one that you could play against left-handed pitching. Yeah. Some Derek in chat says super cheap second baseman Christian Koss. 2.1K. All right. I mean, I like a cheap second baseman. I like punt second base. Looks like he's gotten a hit in 4 of his last 5 games, but maybe lack of power, but 2.1K. Don't hate it. The Cubs. I mean, I like the Cubs in this spot. I mean, I feel like they're going to have a tough series because, I mean, I think the Giants starting pitching is actually really solid this season, and this is one of the spots you could definitely pick on. I mean, I feel like I play the Cubs every single day, but from what we've seen from Roop is he struggles with lefties, so Tucker, Bush, PCA is off to an incredible start this season, and like he's always the low-owned piece of the stack because of where he hits in the lineup. But he's sitting at 9 home runs this season, and yeah, he has that stolen base upside too. Like he has that like jack in the bag upside. So PCA is someone I'm looking at here. White Sox at the Royals. Finally get to this game. I feel like this game's interesting from an ownership perspective. Outside of that, I mean, probably not. Shane Smith, Cole Reagans, 8 total. The Royals a 250 favorite. We'll start with Shane Smith because that's what we do. We always start with the visiting pitcher. below average strikeout pitcher so far this season, kind of sitting around 19.5%. He's a pitch to contact guy. He's trying to go out there, generate ground balls, and limit power. And so far this season, he's done a really solid job at doing that. His ISO is 0.07. His WOBA is 267. His barrel rate's 5.6%. So he's done an awesome job doing exactly what he wants to do. He wants to go out and he wants to limit damage. He wants to get ground balls. He wants to throw 5 or 6 innings. And that's what he's done a lot this season. And he's not given up more than 3 earned runs in a start. And he hasn't given up more than 2 earned runs, but one time. So I'm not sitting here saying that I would play Shane Smith. I also am not sitting here saying I won't play Shane Smith. So here's the thing about the Royals this year. They don't strike out, but their power is way down to start the season. I know I saw a couple alerts this weekend. Vinny Pascantino finally getting going. I've only been talking about this for like a week and a half, I feel like. So it's good to see him get going a little bit over the weekend. I think he has home runs in 3 of his last 5 games or something. I'm not shocked. The advanced stats for Vinny P were really good, so doesn't shock me. But overall, I mean, if you can get around Bobby Witt, Vinny Pascantino, the rest of this lineup is, I mean, very limited power-wise. So I don't think Shane Smith's a crazy play by any means. Again, he's trying to generate ground balls. He is trying to get out of innings quick. He's not a strikeout pitcher by any means. So what's interesting to me is he's not like a sinker baller either. He's like a fastball, changeup, slider guy. And he just tries to generate ground balls. So I don't know if he has some movement on his fastball. I know he averages around 95 miles an hour. So it's worked out for him so far. And he's done a good job, like limiting the damage. Looking at like some of his advanced stats too, I pulled up his page here. Like his xWOBA is a little bit higher than his WOBA. His xERA is a lot higher. So I mean, there definitely some regression coming to these numbers too, and we'll talk about that with the bats for Kansas City. But I don't think Shane Smith is a crazy tournament play on a slate where I feel like our cheap pitching is limited, I think is the best word to say it. All right, let's talk about the White Sox bats. I mean, the first thing that we should, or not bats, we'll talk about Cole Reagans. Benintendi was dealing with like a calf, and he left the game on Sunday. I did make a note of that. His lineup has really struggled against left-handed pitching this season. This should be a really good spot for Cole Reagans. He should go out and dominate this offense. They're bottom 5 in WRC plus, bottom 5 in WOBA. So, I mean, this is a good spot. They don't strike out a ton, which is always a little concerning for a guy that's going to have a lot of ownership. Cole Reagans in general this year has been a little concerning, but his strikeouts have started to creep back up. I talked a lot about Cole Reagans at the beginning of the year on how his spring wasn't the best spring in the world, but his strikeouts have been there. He got hit last time out against the Rockies, so maybe that scares some people off. But I like this matchup. I like the upside for sure. I mean, the ownership is where it's interesting. I like him a lot. I mean, I expect him to be very popular. I could easily see him being the highest scoring pitcher on the slate. I could also see guys like Pivetta or Rodon. I could see either one of them outscoring him. So if you are more than a single entry person, like if you play 3, 5, 20, 150, don't be afraid to play in tournaments some Pivetta or Rodon instead of him, because I think they have very similar upsides and I think they'll come in lower owned. Benintendi being in the lineup, even though it's lefty, that's one of their better bats in this lineup. So that hurts for sure. Richie says, I feel like the White Sox do well against the chalky top pitchers lately. I mean, I don't think the White Sox are as bad as people want them to be. I mean, they're not great. Don't get me wrong. So, I was just talking about the Royals. I quickly pulled up the White Sox numbers against righties, but the Royals are 29th out of 30 teams in WRC plus against right-handed pitching. Going back to like the conversation about Shane Smith on the other side of this game. Bats for the White Sox. If I was going to pick on Reagan's, it's right-handed power. Robert would be by far my favorite play here. 4,500. I think that's a really good price tag. I don't mind the catcher value here, Edgar Quero. He's shown power against left-handed pitching. He's off to a really good start with this team. So I assume he draws the start today as well. So, yeah, I mean, right-handed power is where I would play the White Sox. You are going to get some leverage on the field today with right-handed power. As far as the Kansas City bats go, I don't know what to do at Kansas City. I mean, obviously, Bobby Witt, always a top-end play. Vinny Pasquantino, always someone that I like value-wise. Shane Smith, he hasn't, I said it, he hasn't really gotten blown up. He's only allowed one home run in his 6 starts this year. He just does a really good job of limiting power, keeping hitters off balance with the changeup and slider. The lack of power for the Royals has been concerning for me this year. I want to see ownership. If the Royals are low owned, sure. But if the Royals are getting some love today with their high implied team total and being a huge favorite, might be one of those slates where you could be like, all right, I won't play Kansas City today. So I think I'll be checking throughout the day and looking at ownership on the Royals. Houston at Milwaukee. 8 total pick'em game. Blanco and Myers facing off against each other in this one. I'm pretty sure that I saw on my feed today. Yeah. So Jordan Alvarez was out of the lineup. He's dealing with a hand injury, so we'll have to see if he's back or not. So starting with Blanco. He can't get left-handed hitters out. He really just he cannot get left-handed hitters out. He's really, really bad against lefties. 9% Ks, 15% walks, 302 ISO, 387 WOBA, 35% fly balls. That's not good. Just in case you're curious, that's not good. They have enough lefties in this lineup, I think. Yelich, Frelick, Collins. Who am I missing? Turang? Yeah, Turang. So I think they have enough lefties in this lineup. I feel like Bowers, right? Bowers is the other one. They could get 5, 6 lefties in this lineup, typically. Up to 6 lefties in this lineup. With Mitchell being out, I think it's 5, closer to 5, typically. I don't think it's enough righties for Blanco. He just can't get lefties out. But he's striking out righties at a huge clip, like 31% of the time. So this is a classic. Like if he was pitching against his own team, I'd love him in this spot because I mean Houston is so right-handed heavy. But yeah, I don't think this is the spot I want to play him. I'm gonna pass. Myers on the other side, kind of the same thing. He has really struggled with lefties this season. He has been okay against righties. Even last year, the same thing was like the same case for Myers last year. I don't know what they're going to do with him here pitch wise. I mean, he came out and threw a couple days ago. He threw an inning in the blowout against the Cubs. I was like, why is Myers pitching? Could have just been like simulated in a bullpen for him. He only faced 3 hitters. He only threw 11 pitches. So not too concerned on that aspect. I'm just concerned, like, how are they going to handle him here? How many pitches are they going to give him? They yanked him really early last time that he started against the White Sox because he was struggling with command. And like the manager like came out and said, like, I'm trying to send a message. So last year he was really solid against righties. This year he's been really solid against righties, and Houston is full of righties, and he's 5,700. If Alvarez is out of this lineup, maybe Carantini hits DH and is a lefty, but he's a bad lefty. I don't know. Part of me is saying that we could take some shots on Myers. The other part of me is going, this guy could easily just throw 30 to 50 pitches and crush us. I don't know. I like the potential against all these right-handed hitters. I've said that a lot lately when facing Houston. If Alvarez out of the lineup, I like the spot even more. Both of these pitchers, I mean, you have to check the lineups when they come out. Both of these pitchers are really good against righties, and both of these pitchers struggles against lefties. So you have to check the lineups when these lineups come out. As far as the Houston bats, stack spot. I mean, it's a stack spot for me. I wouldn't play one-offs here. I would just say maybe Harris doesn't pitch well. He walks a lot of hitters. They take advantage of it. So it's stack or fade for me on Houston. As far as Milwaukee, I like the lefties. Assuming that Frelick is back in the lineup. I know they said something about his knee. So watch that. If he's out of the lineup, I don't know what they do with this lineup. So Turang, Yelich, Collins. If Collins draws a start, like, we get some cheap lefties here. Even like Yelich is only 4,400. So I like the Milwaukee lefties in this spot. Blanco he's been really bad against lefties this year. Pittsburgh at St. Louis, 8.5 total in this one. St. Louis are 155 favorite. Ladzinski against Mikolas. Ladzinski last time out, I mean, I feel like I stacked against him so much in that matchup against the Cubs, and he actually pitched okay. I remember tilting. I was like, man, what are we doing? This guy, he really like did not throw the ball by anybody in that game, and like it's just his whiff rate's really low, his swinging strike rate's really low. He's done a really good job of not getting barreled a lot, but I mean his advanced stats are not good. Cardinals, I mean they're a very, very tilting offense. But I don't think this is a spot I want to play him. I know he pitched really well against the Cardinals earlier this season. He's just, I'm not doing it. I'm not looking at the game log and saying, oh, his only game that he's pitched well this year was against Cardinals. Nope, not doing it. Miles Mikolas, other side here. I can't tell you the last time I even remotely thought about playing this guy. He doesn't miss bats anymore. He doesn't strike anybody out. I know last time out against Cincinnati, he had 4 strikeouts and had a good outing. He's good in limit damage. His power numbers are way down. He pitches to contact and generates enough ground balls. He doesn't give up home runs. He's cheap enough that I think you could potentially take some shots on him today. I like some bats. I talked about how much I like Atlanta and the Cubs. We're going to talk about some of these other offenses. I love Arizona. I think they're in the next game that we're going to talk about. So, yeah, I mean, I don't want to play Miles Mikolas by any means, but 15 fantasy points at 6,200, maybe. What about St. Louis off the doubleheader? I'm not worried about that. I'm not concerned. Baseball players don't get a lot of credit, but they're some of the best athletes in the world. I'll argue that. Some of them, anyway. Some of them are not. All right. Pittsburgh bats. I love stacking against Mikolas. He really hasn't had that game where it's like worked out a lot this year. Like I said, he hasn't given up a home run. Boston put it on him pretty heavily earlier this season. O'Neal Cruz, Valdez, Reynolds. One of the reasons that I don't hate Mikolas is I don't like the Pirates lineup. Cardinals, man, oh man, Cardinals. Lazinski again. He doesn't throw the ball by a lot of people. His strikeout rate's really low. His WOBA's really high. He gives up a lot of line drives and a lot of hard contact. Nootbaar, Donovan, Gorman is always someone I like to play. I think Wynn is hurt. Yeah. Exit the game 2, 5th inning, ankle sprain. So he won't play likely here. So we might get a cheap bat or two here. St. Louis is on my list. They're in my player pool today for sure. Mets, Diamondbacks. My voice is struggling right now. 9.5 total pick'em game. Griffin Canning against Ryan Nelson. I'm really excited for this game. I like the offenses on both sides of this game. We'll quickly talk about the pitchers. I don't have to spend too much time on these guys. Griffin Canning going up against Arizona. He's pitched really well to start the season. Good for him. I don't think this is going to continue. I don't like the advanced stats. This lineup has been one of the best lineups in baseball against right-handed pitching this season. They're top 5 in a lot of categories against righties. Maybe he proves me wrong in this spot, but I feel like he's had some good matchups to start the season, and it's kind of inflated his numbers a little bit. Good for him if he beats this team, but I am way more interested in the bats than I am Griffin Canning today. Ryan Nelson on the other side of this one, no chance whatsoever. I know he's had some decent strikeouts this season, pitching kind of like out of the bullpen situation. But Corbin Burns getting a skip here. Nelson probably going to throw 60 to 70 pitches, is what I would kind of guess. So we're going to see a lot of bullpen here, and Arizona has a bottom 5 bullpen. The Mets are first look like the Mets might be my favorite stack on the slate. I really, really like them. It's tough. I mean, I really like the Cubs and the Braves, but I really like the Mets today. I think they're going to have a huge game here. Lindor, Soto, Alonso, Vientos, Nimmo, all of them. I have a lot of interest in the Mets. On the road in Arizona, getting a huge ballpark upgrade. And I did see that like Winker is expected to go on the IL. So maybe we get a little bit more Jeff McNeil getting some at bats here. He's cheap. Maybe they call up a prospect to play here a little while, but yeah, I like the Mets a lot. Arizona bats. Again, I am not a believer in Griffin Canning at all. So this is me not believing in Griffin Canning and saying, like, there's no way a guy goes from getting absolutely crushed to lefties, not really changing a lot, to the all of a sudden just pitching way better against lefties this season. So a little bit has that to bullpen, but man, his advanced stats, his like X WOBA, his X slugging, all of that just say there's some regression coming here. I know, like, he's using his slider way more than he did last season, and it's working out for him. He's using his changeup a lot less, but even if we look at the advanced stats and like the slider and stuff, there's regression. There's regression coming. I really like Arizona. I think this is an awesome spot for Arizona. Like I said, they're one of the best offenses in baseball against right-handed pitching this season. Suarez, Naylor, Carroll, Perdomo, Tim Tawa has been awesome against righties to start the season. Is he still super cheap? 3,400. I know we like to save some money at second base on most slates. Like, this guy has a 378 ISO and a 367 WOBA against right-handed pitching this season. So I'm in. Sign me up on this offense. Both sides. I think this is going to be a high-scoring one. I hope it's going to be a high-scoring one. Seattle at the Athletics. 9 total in this game. Pick'em game. Bryce Miller, Luis Severino. So I've talked a lot about Bryce Miller this season. I feel like, anyway, pitched really solid. He pitched okay. It worked out against the Angels last time out. He ended up putting up like 23 DK points. He can't throw strikes right now. His walk rate is so concerning for me against an offense like this, where they have a lot of power, and if he's struggling with command, does he get hit hard in this game? The ballpark too, like, I don't know. Miller got so much more ownership than I expected last time out, and it worked out for people, but the command just has not been there. His walk rate is almost it's almost 10% higher. It's like 9% higher than it was last season. His hard hit rate is up. His line drive rate is up. I don't know. There was a lot of regression potential in his numbers last year too, for what it's worth. I mean, you could play him in this spot, sure. I probably won't. But I mean, I haven't played him a lot this year, if I'm being honest. I don't like command issues. Severino on the other side, got hit last time out against Texas. Kind of expected that. I know he had a really decent game against the White Sox. He came back and realized that, like, all right, I'm Luis Severino. 18% Ks on the season, giving up a ton of hard contact. Swinging strike rate is just so incredibly low. He's done a good job of, like, limiting power and not giving up a lot of home runs. So, I mean, a matchup with Seattle is always intriguing, but I mean, I think this lineup is starting to get going a little bit more than we expected. Blanco's been hitting really well. Cal Riley's been awesome. Rosarina is starting to get going, especially against a guy that doesn't strike out hitters. Rowdy Tellez has been really solid to start the season. So, I mean, if we're looking at WRC plus, Seattle ranks first in WRC plus against right-handed pitching this season, which I didn't see that coming. They're 5th in ISO. So I like the potential here for Seattle instead of Severino in this ballpark. I want to play some Seattle bets today for sure. Basically, the hitters that I said. I have interest in Polanco, Cal Riley, Rosarina, Rowdy Tellez. Like, what is Cal Riley at? He's at 12 home runs. Like, he just keeps hitting home runs. And this is another spot where he gets a righty that struggles with strikeouts. Oh, chat's saying, Derek saying Rosarina left the game with a hamstring. They were losing. Were they losing bad? Nothing serious. So We'll see if Rosarena's in there. If he's not, I mean, it could potentially help lineup spots here. So Rowdy Tellez is like 2,400. If he gets bumped up in the lineup because Rosarena's out, that's always a good thing. The Athletics, this is where it's interesting for me. Again, Bryce Miller probably going to get some ownership mid-range against the Athletics. You're like, oh, that could easily work, and it could easily work. Don't get me wrong. Command issues, a lot of hard contact in this ballpark with this offense. I'm leaning taking shots on the Athletics instead of Miller. Maybe I change my mind throughout the day. There are a lot of strikeout potential hitters in this lineup. But, I mean, I'm just high on the Athletics this year overall. When do we think Nick Kurtz gets sent back down? I guess he's not doing terrible. He's hitting. He's just striking out at a huge clip. Do we think Kurtz gets sent back down? I don't know. I'm on the fence. Wyatt Langford stopped or started kind of slow too. I think Kurtz could eventually get it going. Command issues and hard contact issues always like to stack against those types of pitchers. So take some shots on the Athletics today. If you haven't already, make sure you head on over to the Morning Grind YouTube page. Hit that subscribe button. I haven't looked, but I thought we were getting closer to our goal. Are we at 2,000? I wanted to get to 2,000 subs by the end of May. We have this month to do it. If you haven't already, if you're just a listener over there on iTunes or Spotify or however you listen to the podcast, take 2 minutes, go over there, hit the subscribe button on YouTube for me. I appreciate it. That is my goal. My goal is to continue to grow the YouTube channel. I have some stuff that I have planned for it when I have a little bit more time. So there's going to be more stuff than just the podcast on YouTube eventually. So if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right, morning grind game. Under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. I was really setting the bar high on this slate. I really don't like anyone down here. I really don't like anyone down here to get 6 or more strikeouts. I could see a couple pitchers doing well. If I was just chasing strikeouts and not really caring too much what their fantasy score ends up being, I think it would be Smith Schroyer from the Braves. Over 8K to score under 15. I think I have to go with my boy Brady Singer today. I think this is a really tough matchup for him going up against Atlanta. Bryce Miller is my second option there. Over 4K to hit a home run. A lot of options today. Oh, man. I want somebody... I was trying not to take Carroll or Soto. Soto's price is so intriguing on DraftKings. It's too low. Let's go off a little. I mean, it's not really off the board, but give me Kettle Marte to hit a home run. He just came back over the weekend, hasn't hit a home run yet this year. Marte to go yard. Just helps the lineup even more. Under 4K to score 10 or more DK points. Sorry, I did not. I usually write down who I like as I'm going for these questions. I did not write it down today. Let's go Verdugo from Atlanta to score 10 plus today. Stack to score 6 or more runs. I said it. I love the Mets today. Give me the Mets to score 6 or more runs. I hope everyone has a fantastic Monday. Back tomorrow, breaking down the next baseball slate. As always, appreciate everyone. And hit the subscribe button. Thank you. See everyone on Tuesday.